pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Marty, all the men have on blue plaid.
I think
We've got a proper.
And there's sticklers around here.
Just have a look.
Sorry.
So we have Dr. Miller here from the Antwerp Local School, and we're looking at their the site plan for the new athletic building. I think it's the
Yeah,
Flight
wellness
House
center,
or
I guess. It has multiple.
Wellness Center. Okay. And so I had forwarded you all the site plan drawings that you're required to approve for the project to go forward. And did all of you receive the drawings and have a chance to review those?
Wasn't able to read them just because by the time you blow up the image, it's.
Yeah, they're pretty. The resolution was not great.
I had the architect send you the big ones to some address that you gave me.
Oh.
But I don't know if you got those yet.
Well,
They'd be coming in probably a big tube.
okay.
I don't know. It was over a week ago and they said they were sending them to you.
What's this here? Who's your?
That's one of the maps that
Garmin
we had
Miller?
a long time ago.
But yeah, that's what it looked like.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was 118 North Main Street.
Yep.
Maybe it's in Kevin's office.
Might be in Kevin's. I don't have the key to that.
You can see if it's unlocked.
It's not.
Okay.
Well.
I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah,
I
that's.
don't think it's necessary.
They were sending you the big papers. I guess that's what you described.
Those are all.
No.
Okay. Well, it's one of the disadvantages of having a part-time zoning inspector. Does the commission have any questions or concerns or about the site plan?
The site plan that I reviewed, I wasn't able to discern where the property boundaries were. I mean, part of what we're trying to accomplish is, are we managing the setbacks? And the property boundaries were on the page that showed no structure, but not on the page that showed the structure. And the setbacks were not defined.
So I was able to glean some information from the auditor's website, but it was our last, with the zoning appeals board meeting that happened earlier this evening, that auditor's map is notoriously inaccurate, and I don't really put any value in the auditor's map as far as determining any property lines. I mean, it very easily could be 5 feet or more off, which is unfortunate because otherwise it looks like a really good resource.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more complex than that. So,
Right.
I mean, there's a 3.3 acre parcel that this property eventually will be built on that has been traded back and forth between the school and the village.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some paperwork issues to resolve. And then I believe that should put the property line through the building, right? I mean, here again, the property line wasn't on the drawing, but I think the property line of this 3.3 acres is gonna go through the building itself.
Yeah, so you have the, 37, I'm not sure what the acreage is, that the school sits
35,
on.
yep.
Yeah, the baseball fields and all that, which I can use this desk as an example. And then there's that, I'll use this as the line right there. So then there's a rectangular parcel that Mark's referring to, which runs north to south. It's 3.4 some acres. And that's the land that we had issue with back in 2008 that was given to the school, that parcel, but it was never officially recorded by the village with the county auditor. So it sat in limbo until maybe 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, where then we were looking to build this, and the village administrator, Brian Davis, contacted me and said, "Hey, where are you building this building at?" And I said, "Well, it's going right beside our baseball, softball field," and I tucked right real close to it. And he said, "Well, I think that's on our property." I said, "No, I've got the paperwork right here. It says it was given to us 2008. And then, of course, I got to looking at the county auditor's site, and sure enough, they had it still listed as the village property. So since that point, we've been working with Brian Davis, our attorneys, and various people trying to get this figured out. But the project was unfolding here, and so that's what we had the village, Shane Lee, I think it was, wrote a letter that I could use to give to like AEP, Ohio Gas, stating that yes, it is Antwerp Local Schools property. It just, there's some clerical things that need to be done with the auditor's office.
Right.
And the auditor had spelled out what they needed done, and basically what they needed done was another survey done of it, because even that part was done wrong initially, just to clarify things so that a deed, or not deed, what's the word there?
Legal description.
Legal description could be filed with the auditor, then the auditor could change over, either give us a new parcel number for that, which I think that's what they wanted to do. So that was in process, so I could at least get, AEP and Ohio Power to feel comfortable running those things to that building, electricity and gas. And so that's why we continue proceeding with that. But for whatever reason, and Mark's kind of been involved in here, I don't know who's dragging their feet, if I can use that word, or who's just not getting things done. But the auditors are awaiting that legal description from Choice One. That's the surveying firm that the village got to do it, to write up that and file it with the auditor so they can switch it over. So in the meantime, though, that's that parcel, put the building right up against, this is the baseball, softball field area, maybe right through here. We put that building real close so that it would, the press box would look over the fields, they'd be real close to it. That's why we
That would be
put
in the
that.
parking lot.
So where that parking lot is that we had there, it'd be in that south end of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that we have plenty of parking then going, that people can park in for that building.
But I mean, so the property thing goes beyond that iteration, because what's sitting right now listed within the legal description and the survey for your 35 acres is 38 acres, which is what you really need to do this project anyway.
Yeah.
So there's some more unraveling that needs to happen once some of this gets worked out, because you really need to be sitting on a 38 acre parcel to avoid crossing a property
Yeah.
line with the building.
And that's what we originally had back in
Right.
whatever year it was, 1995. Was we owned all that, the school owned all that property up to Water Plant Drive. It was a stone drive, and back then people told me. And at some point there was a deal made with the village, because the school wanted that land where the football field is now, on the other side of the road. So there was a swap made of 11 acres there for that 11 acres that now is where cars park, or we have our practice football field, and that area right there. There was a swap made, but as Mark said, as you look at the terminology on how that was done, something was done wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's quite the mess that still needs to be played out, but that's why I'm in the business of educating kids. I've done my best to figure this out so we can get this done. But we're hoping that the village can get their end done with filing the proper paperwork, and it's not you, but I think it's just Brian that I've been working with, and his attorneys, and then getting things surveyed so we can get this all done. It's all in process, and that's what I think took place years ago. Things just took, and then there's change in administration at the school, there's change in
People forget.
people, and then it just, well, next thing we know.
So, but I see you have a large detention pond on the
Yeah.
southeast corner of the property.
Right.
I think that's a big issue in this part of the world, as far as drainage, and do your engineers feel confident that that
Yeah.
is adequate? As far as the vehicles getting in and out of there, I mean, water plant drive's not ideal, but it's what we're working with, I guess. But those are some other issues but I feel like that's
Neither here nor there, they're at that building.
Yeah.
The buildings is all where they go, but not the access.
but the
And that's what, we already ran the sewer lines that come back into our facility. State approved all the permits for that. The thing that we're dealing right now is, AEP wants to run their electric line from right out there at Water Plant Drive. There's a pole right there by the football field. They wanted to bore underground under village property to get to our building, and the village, did not.
And you know, I kind
approve
of
it.
have a problem with that,
Yeah.
because of the easement through
Yeah,
there. If we build if in the future we build a new water plant, we're gonna butt up against that easement.
yeah. And we didn't have any problem with that, just what AEP had, and I just said, Brian, you wanna check with that? Because what we can do is run the electric line along our Archer Way Drive now.
Okay.
They can do that. It's just moving the line 100 feet or whatever it is
Yeah.
and then doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue.
Yeah, okay.
But then the gas line is the next thing, because it comes in off of 49 and runs right to the old water plant building.
Okay,
So that's why we want to run that diagonal to our new building, just because diagonal is shorter than
yeah.
a 90. But Brian was going to probably bring that to the council next, if in that far corner, that far southeast corner, to run a little diagonal across there with the gas line.
Is there gas on Canal Street? Is there gas on?
I'm sure there is.
I don't know.
Can
I
you
don't know
go-
that.
I know there's gas on Diamond Drive, and I'm sure it got stubbed off of Canal.
Yeah, it was my understanding that that field or parking area is a well field, possibly a new well, and you can't go across that because of contamination. There's a certain boundary it has to be left. So if they're gonna run gas, they'll have to go down the drive, or they'll have to go up across the field. They can't go diagonally.
Yeah.
With what they're perceiving right now, that's possibly be a new well one time, or in the future.
So they're gonna send those images, or I actually sent the image to Brian yesterday, what the Ohio Gas would like to run it, but if they can't, we're just gonna continue straight, off of 49 coming down that way to the back end of our property, and then come shooting straight up, which is fine. It's just footage costs more, that's all. They can do that. It can be done, it's not an issue. They're just looking at the cheapest route.
Yeah.
It's our way.
Yeah.
If it's gonna interfere with things, we don't wanna do that.
How about for fire? Is there gonna be a hydrant out there, something that if there were a fire, do they have a hydrant that
And I think there's one just as you come around the field house right there.
okay,
There's a fire
so
hydrant.
that should be covered.
Yeah.
There's a hydrant also that sets up where the big blue house that Bragg's just sold. There's a hydrant that sits there too.
Yeah. I mean, all those, all the things that our architects had to get approved from the state level. I'm not sure what all permits they permit, or all the things that we have to have in place. They approved all those. Sewer, water, fire suppression systems. So I mean, I don't want to take up all your time, but if you have any more questions, but I do have a board meeting in 11 minutes. And there's people paying.
Do
So we need we need a motion to approve
I
the
motion
site
to-
plan as submitted.
I am a motion to approve it.
Well, did you have a problem? Not really.
Yeah, I can't approve it.
You're okay.
No,
Well, is there a second to Michelle's motion to approve the site plan as submitted?
Well, my question is, do you have a problem with this?
well, right now the building structure is being built on someone else's property. So until we get those ducks in a row, I can't in good conscience, and it's been dragging on for a very long time.
Well, so the zoning permit, we'll have to wait for that to be resolved.
I mean, I understand what Mark's saying, it's our property and has been for a long time.
But it's in the.
It's erroneously not filed.
It got stuck on somebody's desk and buried and
And
forgotten.
they've spent, well, March was when we asked for it to get clarified, so we're waiting now.
And that
7
all
months.
came about when they did the flip flop from the ball diamond to the parking lot.
Repeat that, sir?
Well,
From the football field.
football field.
That's
yeah.
when the problem originally
Yeah,
began.
okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
There was just some, in that legal description, whoever wrote it up just didn't have things correct.
I'm gonna second Michelle's motion.
Okay, Jan's gonna second the motion to approve the site plan as submitted.
Because I think the rest of this is just all paperwork that's gotta be worked out, right?
Yeah, just someone needs kicked in the butt,
Yeah.
basically, get things done.
So, Michelle, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
You approve?
Yes.
Jan's a yes. Ken?
Yeah, I'll vote yes.
Bill's a no.
Nope.
Mark's a no. And I think the majority, let me double check that, I think it should pass.
I do appreciate Mark has got the prosecuting attorney involved, Joe Burkhart. So, and he works for us, just as, he represents government agencies, so he is trying to get things done right.
Good.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with building, it's just,
Yeah, I understand, and I'm not here to
to
question.
approve something and it's not
Yeah,
100% legit, you don't know, Get all the bugs worked out of the system.
yeah, and that's, I tried to stress to, some people that, we'd like to proceed with this, there is government money involved in this.
Mhm.
1/3 of the building is being paid by the federal government, and it has to be spent by,
By a certain
Yeah.
time.
so,
Yeah.
but we just seem to have people, I don't know,
Yeah, grant money and anything that
Yeah.
has to go down through there.
$500,000 is federal money.
It's great to
Can't walk away from that.
No, and it has to be spent by September 24th, so. Gotta get it done.
The site plan has been approved. And there, thank you, Dr. Miller, for your time.
I appreciate it,
And,
appreciate your
working
work.
with this.
But Mark and I will stay on it.
Yeah.
I know he won't.
So-
Even if I go to the grave.
Well, no, I mean,
When you,
yeah, there's
I
been.
mean, I understand what you're saying,
Oh,
I'm just,
There has been at least a dozen property transfers after the school vacated this property and began the process of this thing. And, this all just gotten muddled up numerous times.
things need
at
to
this
be
point.
done and
So,
put away and filed correctly, and then we don't leave a burden for the next generation that comes behind us, because that's some of the things that I'm dealing with on the zoning appeals board that I really don't enjoy having to figure out what somebody didn't do their job right or whatever.
Okay.
But as far as that goes, I don't have anything else on the agenda tonight.
So you're not gonna run the utilities across the town property then?
Not without the town doing an easement, we can't.
Yeah, I hate to put an easement, well, you're on the council. Yeah,
And we don't have any, we're just,
I mean, I
What do you think?
realize it costs a bit more to go,
yeah,
but,
it's just where things are.
yeah.
It just happens to be, it's just weird how we have school property, village property, school property, right?
Yeah.
It just muddles things. And then where utilities are
Yeah.
in that process, so.
Well, and the wells happen to be there, so.
Yeah, and it just so happens to
Right.
be, yes, not just property.
Your options are becoming strictly
Yeah,
limited
it's
now.
just not village property. There are things that
Right.
have some
People rely
value.
on there.
Yeah, right. All right, well, I better keep moving.
Thanks, Marty.
Yes, appreciate your time. We'll get her done. Last thing we do, we'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good.
Well, I do have something else for tonight.
You-
Okay.
This week, there was a fence put up in Antwerp. It was done by a local contractor. I contacted Brian Davis. There was no building permit for this fence. Now, I think we need to contact local contractor. I don't know what happened, whether the property owner assumed the local contractor had all the ducks in a row. But this can't keep going on. It's just willy-nilly and we're sticking stuff up. These contractors have to know either you do it right or they have to be penalized for it. You can't just, people hire somebody in good faith
They
and this
should-
stuff isn't going up like it should or being controlled like it should.
Okay. So, this is the first I've heard of it.
It went up
And,
Wednesday.
Went-
When we put
okay.
it up, so it's this week.
And I'm still trying to get to the subway building when there, as far as what they're doing there, I really have no clue, and they need to have a zoning permit for the change of use. Whatever it is, it's not a restaurant, if it's a club, private club, and that's whatever that would be allowed, but they should get a permit. So guys, I'm doing as much as I possibly can on top of having a full-time job and dealing with family stuff. Like literally.
Somebody needs to contact these people. You can't say, well, shit, we tried, we missed it this time, we'll get it next. This
No,
can't keep
right.
going on
And the
like
longer
this.
you
I'm
wait
Where's
sorry.
it at?
Mhm.
What's that?
Where's it at?
It's 306 West Canal is where they put it up,
Canal?
and it's 5-star builders who did it. Now,
Mhm.
these guys need to be contacted and tell them or something, that.
And there's
you gotta
times
have
when I
this.
get contacted by contractors out of Fort Wayne or other cities that deal with permits all the time, and they don't have any issue with it, but I do feel like sometimes there's contractors that are looking for areas that don't have as stringent of permitting process where they can operate without being licensed and those types of things. So, maybe,
So who do you go back on? The homeowner or the people that build it?
well, I think you'd have to go on, it's the property owner that's ultimately responsible for what happens on their property.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would say-
somebody could come in and from Timbuktu and slap something up for them and be gone.
You said it's on West Canal.
Yeah, I think the contractor should be a little bit liable too.
Mhm.
I think our zoning book actually says everyone involved can be fined. For
You're right,
homeowners.
it does, I think it does.
Everyone, every
But-
individual.
But if the contractor skips town, then the property owner's gonna get left holding the bag. That could be something where, it would be a rule where the contractors just have to register in town. You wouldn't have to pay a fee, but they have to acknowledge that we have zoning in town and that they're gonna follow the zoning rules or something like that. That could be put into the zoning fairly easily. And that would be pretty easy to enforce. Like, do you have a permit to do business in Antwerp or not? But you're right, there needs to be some kind of process to
Yeah.
address it quickly and not just when can Gabe get around to it. And and I'm not saying I can't do my job, but it's
You got a lot happening right now.
it's been a busy year for sure. Ever since I got back from vacation, it's been, actually it started before vacation, but maybe good thing I took a vacation. So I can do a drive-by after the meeting and I can check on the, I can get the information and send them
Oh,
a
yeah, you
letter.
Put it
That's
on,
what I, that's what I,
Facebook or the newspaper, these people, yeah, ignorance of law is no excuse, but we can make it a little easier on them, like, what's happening in Antwerp, post something on there, you need to have a permit to put
Well-
up a barn, you need to have a permit to put up your fence or whatever. Some of the simple stuff.
and
Yeah,
that's
everybody
not
knows a
everybody's
house.
gonna do that.
Five-
You looked at
You
some
said
people.
5-star put it up, fence?
Yeah, they're the ones that were putting it up. Their truck was there. Now, maybe they loaned it out somewhere else, but
Yeah.
their vehicle's
Your
there or
vehicle was
something.
there.
Yeah. They should know better.
Is there like a spot, like people can record this stuff going up that way? I mean, cause we can't expect Gabe just to know that a fence went up, like
Yeah.
that could be in the center of
Yeah.
town.
I thought about that too, maybe like a Google form, where you
That's-
could go to the village website, then you just
And then
fill out this
download.
form, then it's documented,
Mhm.
this happened, and
Cause I
then,
was thinking that like, I mean, I could put something up at my house and nobody will ever know.
right,
But you
yeah.
know, I live
But-
clear back on.
But you did do some building back there, and by gosh, you knew that you needed a permit, and you didn't think, oh, I live clear back here, nobody will notice. You did the right thing. And I think the majority of people do the right thing, but some people, maybe they're,
Well, the contractor should know better.
well,
The contractor don't realize he's apparently not. I would say he probably don't know it. Maybe he should know it, but he definitely doesn't, or he'd have made sure that there was one there in place. Just like, if he's held liable as well as the homeowner, I wouldn't want to want my business on the line.
I wonder if they've
Right.
ever done other work in town,
Well, I can assume yes, if they do one, they've probably done them
then you
all.
should know,
I'm not saying it for sure, but,
yeah.
and I don't know, maybe they put in decks or something else as well. I just happen to be walking by and I see it, and then I talked to Brian Davis, I said, hey, by the way, was there a permit filled out for that? And he was in his office and he said, let me look. I said, no, there's nothing for Canal Street at all.
yeah, well,
I knew you were at work, at school.
Right.
I just happened to be visiting with him, and I, well, if I asked, out of
Yeah.
curiosity.
without a permit,
I don't want to be
How-
going around ratting everybody out, that's not my job, but
well, no, but.
we've got issues that we need to address.
How can we get the word out to contractors and property owners?
If we're gonna put anything online, we ought to put the application online.
I think
It
so
is on
too.
there.
And a payment
It
capability.
is on there?
Payment
Because I know when I
capability.
tried to get a permit to put up a fence, it was
I
kind of a
don't-
pain in the ass to figure out who
There
paid, how
wasn't
much
when you,
was
when
it.
It
you
would
were
be
doing it, it
nice.
wasn't.
Right?
It would be very
Yeah,
nice to go ahead and do.
Right.
So, what do you want? Let's see,
Make
I don't know what
it
it
easier.
takes to set up online payment activities for like buildings.
Yeah, well, like a fence, you need a permit, but they also need to know what the stipulations are. They gotta be 5 foot off the line or whatever, because if not, then you've got issues. Now we're back in here to having the guys trying to get a deviation for it.
well, I'm gonna,
Probably on the website put up like a zoning.
It's on the Antwerp website, but it's a son of a gun to navigate around in.
it is, it's down a menu and sometimes then it disappears and I try it again.
Yeah, it's not the user-friendly that it should be, for something that people would use more so than trying to look up what somebody's bio is for being
All right, let's see here. So, the Village of Antwerp Planning and Zoning Commission would like to remind everyone that zoning permits are required in the village of Antwerp, period. Let's see. I'm just gonna
yourself already.
We have a big a megaphone outside the village.
Just get broadcast from the fire hall.
Yeah.
Might be more effective, actually.
One of those billboards that goes streaming across.
Let's see here. Well, it's going out on what's going on in Antwerp. Planning and Zoning Commission would like to remind everyone that zoning permits are required in the village of Antwerp. Post.
See if that helps.
Yeah, okay. I don't think, well, they could kick me off, I don't care. I don't read it that often anyhow. But, okay, so we did that. How about then, a Google form or an online form to, report violations? And it would just collect your email. So I could still get a hold of the person. I don't necessarily need to know. Could be Fishman 72. I don't know, making stuff up.
Then you got neighbors ratting out neighbors, that's what he's trying to do.
Well,
The council was
right,
working on that
right.
before because we got that issue. Cars sitting
And then
around.
who's dealing with it? Yeah. Well, and then that would only be after I get around to it, because I have to manage my time. But I think that's something that could maybe save us some time if we had that versus, oh, you're gonna deal with an email and then keep track of that, and okay, here I got, somebody told George and he passed it on to me, and then, or a call from the mayor, and that's not documented at all. You should have to do it in a way that it's gonna be documented, in my opinion. And if you have to put your name on it, then you're gonna make sure that it's something worth complaining about, maybe. I think you wanna be a little bit, people should, if they're gonna try and make some change and do something, it'd be good if you talk to your other neighbors on your street, and maybe you could do it collectively, and that there's political influence there to make things happen. Because like that trailer on Wilcox Street, I know you'd said something about it years ago, but until there was some movement to get something done, then it's still not done. But at least
And we didn't want to do it while people were living in it.
yeah.
No.
Well, so
So the online submission form, not for the complaint, but like Mark said, I think is a great idea.
online submission form.
Where you can
for-
actually submit your permit online.
Yeah.
submit the permit online.
That's
I
what
think
Mark was
that's a
saying.
good
I,
idea.
instead of a
To
complaint, not
report
submit the complaint,
violations.
but not to report violations, but to
Okay, online.
submit the
I
form.
think that's a good idea.
To submit zoning,
Maybe to hard to set up a payment. You might just have to pay a fee.
zoning permit. I like that idea.
Yeah, that's what Mark was saying. And then you could say drop off the check at, then if you don't want to do the digital, you could do that right away,
Yeah,
and then the digital payment could be later. But yeah, and maybe that could be tied in with our electronic water payment that people have been asking for too.
There's people who don't carry that
Down the
stuff
road.
anymore.
so that's not a thing.
People have been asking for an electronic water payment, but it's not yet.
We've been
Or
trying.
even, I would even like an automatic
Withdraw.
deduction,
Yes.
honestly. Like I'm already at Antwerp Bank, why can't I just,
Yeah,
We've all been asking, but that hasn't happened
an
yet.
automatic deduction for the water bill? you know?
Oh.
I would love to have that.
If that could all be tied together with
Yeah,
permits,
you know you're gonna pay it
payments, and
anyhow,
fees.
just
Amy
pay it
checked
and then when
into all of
the,
that at one time, and there was something with the bank. Because she
Because
wanted
like
it
our
done like
churches do
that.
it, our churches did it, you know?
I can't remember what the excuse was that she said.
But the online submission
She
form is a
checked
good
in with the
idea.
bank, and it was,
yeah.
Yeah, Amy did, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, yeah.
I think the problem was our software wasn't compatible with what she was looking at,
was that it? I can't remember
Is that-
what was,
and we'd have to upgrade our software.
she checked.
But when we
into
upgrade our
it,
meters, I think that might come about. But it is something we need to be on top of.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. One thing that came to light when I was dealing with this upper 9 situation, my other thought was, pretty sure zoning permit says if you're in a business district, you need to have sidewalks, right? And there's no sidewalks on this north side of that building. But I did some digging, and that is only in B2. So that's only, that wouldn't include the downtown area to have sidewalks. But otherwise, then if he's gonna have access going on in that north side, then it would be a good idea to have sidewalks there.
Part of that block is B2, isn't it? Because I had to have an exclusion, me and Sean Dooley, when we rezoned everything a year ago.
So basically everything,
Oh, behind.
So it'd
like
be
here,
the-
yeah.
the
The
manor
alley.
house, the gas station, everything pretty much from Cleveland on the south side of
Mhm.
River Street on out. So most of River Street, except for right here where Main Street cuts through. So most of B1 is along, with the exception of Dooley, and a few other lots.
Yeah.
Bowling alley, yeah. So that might be something to consider. I would at some point, maybe, I think this time next year, have some recommendations for, well, maybe a little sooner, because I don't want to deal with it during the holidays. It'd be nice if we had, if we're gonna make any changes, that we would do it and start it right in August, have our hearing maybe in September, get it to council by October, and then it's not a rush job trying to cram everything in and have a hearing and public discourse and all that stuff. But that sidewalks might be something to consider about. There was something else that I found, it was another minor one, it was,
I'm not sure if sidewalk falls underneath the zoning.
Well,
That's more for the village to decide where they want their sidewalks at.
well, the village does say, I mean, the village decides zoning rules. So if you want to try and enforce it when somebody applies for a new zoning permit, that's a good time to do it. But that would be, you're right, Bill, it'd be up to
Been
council.
Fighting with it for all these other sidewalks for several months, trying to hash out how they're gonna pay for them, which ones they're gonna do.
Right. So in B2, there's no question about it. The business owner is gonna put them in. Or the property owner is gonna put them in when they develop this site, or if they want a zoning permit. That's a part of the zoning permit. I guess one thing, on the duties of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I noticed that it doesn't list that we do site plan reviews and sign reviews. That's something that's just a clerical thing. It should be added. It's been added as a separate area, but it needs to be listed there. That was something that was not major, but something I wanted to suggest. I don't have, the only other thing, if I could have a little bit of flexibility on the timeline for doing these hearings, right? Like I really had to rush around with trying to get these 2 hearings tonight in within 30 days. And then, oh, by the way, you've got Thanksgiving in there. So now, wait, it's not 30 days, it's 21 days. And, you know, if we could, and we don't have to hash that out tonight, but I would really like to have a little bit of flexibility in the timing on that, depending on when it comes in, if it falls over a holiday or something like that. Maybe that certain holidays wouldn't count towards the 30 days, or I don't know, but during this round, that's something that definitely would have been nice, but it's done. But I don't have anything else unless you guys do.
Well, Gabe, you were talking, if you don't mind, I'll just ask one quick question about Cruise Drive. I've had people on there ask about sidewalks because of all the new houses going up. And some people are saying, and this was brought up at the council meeting, I believe, that some people are saying that if there's a new construction, sidewalks have to go in.
Only in B2.
Okay, so it does not have to, like on Cruise?
Only in B2.
Okay,
It's R1 or R2 down there.
okay.
R2, I think.
So if we wanted to modify, we would have to say, oh, it has to be anywhere there's new construction. Is that possible?
Sure.
Okay.
The way
I mean,
it's
it would have to go
the way
through.
it's-
It would have to go through here to be recommended to council. But
But
yes.
if you
The way it's
say,
handled right now is with a covenant within the neighborhood, right? So Maumee Landing, it's part of the covenant of that neighborhood. If you're gonna build in there, you have to put in a sidewalk. Generally speaking, that's how it
but
happens.
if you want to do, what would it,
Broad
if you had to
scale.
do an infill house on Harmon Drive and, you know, they have to put in a sidewalk there, they're the only one on that whole stretch of road.
They don't have sidewalks.
No, there's none in there at all, but if you make that law specific, I think somebody brought up, you know, maybe on certain corridors, and you could do that with a thoroughfare plan. You could say, okay, we wanna start, anytime a zoning permit gets put in on this corridor, you need to have sidewalks as part of your project.
Well, because George Clemens was saying that Cruise is definitely our most heavily traveled with kids coming from school.
I don't
Between
doubt
that and Harmon,
I don't doubt it, Dan. I think it's
especially with all the new construction.
village
going on.
council could levy a tax and put them in, and it'd be for the public good. And that's something that the council can do the next meeting, if you got the political will. If you wanna put it on the zoning inspector to try and enforce it in a piecemeal deal, then could take you a long time, and
I
it
think
wouldn't really necessarily accomplish a whole lot.
Yeah, I've just heard different people say a new construction has to have it, and it's like I just wanted clarification. So the answer is no, unless it's in B2. But thanks for clarifying that, because it's been brought up so many times.
Gotcha. Okay, anything else? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor, stand up.
Okay, all in favor? Yes.